What's going on? Hey man, this should go bought. It's the best day of my life. Tomorrow's not promised. Go on, do your little dance while they still playing your song. Man, stay out of prison, bro. Stay out of prison. So right here, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna respond to it. It said calls for reform grow after inmate loses his limbs. Let's dive off into this story.
Switch gears here and talk about a story we're following at the Fulton County Jail. I know we've talked about the issues that the jail faces, and now it seems that some Fulton County leaders are saying more needs to be done than just a new jail alone.
Yeah, so yesterday we talked a little bit about, we saw that press conference with Ben Crump with the man who had both his legs and his hands amputated. They're calling for a new jail after they talked with the sheriff, Pat Labatt, there, which is no new news here. Pat Labatt has been a component of a new jail. County commissioners have kind of pressed back against that. Well, yesterday, before that news conference even happened, an article in the AJC with Rob Pitts, who's the chairman of the Fulton County Commission Board, Kelsey Bond, who is a newly elected city council member here in Atlanta, and a community activist. They all came together for that article saying that, you know, right now what they need to do, or the solution, is addressing the overcrowding and the overstaffing there. Take a listen. This is Devin Barrington Ward. Love that name. I think it's such a great name there. But he's a community member who says building a new jail is not the answer. He believes, again, staff training, but also diversion programs as well.
This is an issue of making sure that the jail can be fully staffed, but if we are not able to fully staff the jail, then the other alternative is that we have to reduce the rates of incarceration inside of Rice Street, which means relying more on diversion programs. And we know that the number one driver for overpopulation at the Fulton County Jail is the very high arrest rates that are being taken place across the county, but specifically with the city of Atlanta. Arrest rates that, when we actually look at the data, many of those arrests can be diverted to the diversion center or programs that treat some of the substance abuse issues, the issues around homelessness, mental health challenges, and severe poverty that have landed a significant portion of the people inside of the jail there on misdemeanor charges that are nonviolent.
So some of those issues that he's talking about, those nonviolent charges, you know, if you miss a court date and you're arrested because of that, he's saying, you know, maybe create a text messaging system like you get with a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment to kind of cut down on that. So
All right, here we go. And I'm gonna finish listening to what they got to say, but this is what I want to be fully aware of. I want us to be fully aware of. A lot of times we, at some point in time, we were tough on crime, and now we're still tough on crime in the state of Georgia. The people that we see doing the things on the news are not the people that are in actual control. These are not the people that are setting the parameters as to uh, uh, what has to be done. They are simply following the orders of other individuals, the ones that we don't see. And so here's the reality of the situation that nobody wants to discuss, because apparently I'm the smartest person in the world. And we all know this is not true because I'm operating off two GEDs. But the truth of the matter is this. If they wanted to stop crime, they could. If they wanted to reduce crime, they could. This is an actual thing that could really take place. But let me tell you something. They don't want to do that. I'll tell you why. And it's very logical. Charlie Global told me one thing. He said, I said, why is this set up like this? And why? He said, man, people start using their common sense. All right. So if crime stops right now today, if there's no more crime, there's no more crime. Who loses their job? Who loses their money? Who gets laid off? Okay. That's the truth of the matter. I was granted the permission or the opportunity to speak at Emory State. I was on the panel, and the panel that we spoke to, these guys, these young ladies, these young men, were either college graduates, college students, district attorneys, lawyers, judges. One of the lawyers asked, "Hey, if we want to help our clients stay out of jail before they come home, what can we do to help them out?" So some of the people was like, "Hey man, send them to me and let's do this. 1, 2, 3." And all this sounds cool. But when the question got to me, this is where I'm at. And this is just a realistic situation, man. If this is what I told her, you asking us or you asking me how to keep a client out of prison is equivalent to me walking into my barbershop asking him, how can I cut my hair in such a form or way that I don't have to get any more haircuts? Man, we'll put you out of business. What we have to understand is that the criminal justice system is a business. People profit, entities profit. And a large population of American citizens' income is determined by how many people get locked up. Thus, they're never going to go out of business. Right now, they need people to work. If you're working in law enforcement, you're working with the government, the chances of you being put out of work is highly unlikely, unless it's just some real nonsense that's going on. But they don't want to stop this crime. They want to build more prison. It's just like war. We all love peace, but we all know it's money in war. It's money in prisons, bro. Somebody gets paid. When two people are arguing on the street and they shoot each other, sometimes all we see is the person that gets shot and the person that goes to jail. Well, there's some dollar signs that come behind that person that dies. There's also some dollar signs behind that person who is getting incarcerated. So let's not get caught up in the, you know, I'm sorry I had to get on my footstool, but bro, sometimes we be talking about stuff and it really don't be we're just seeing the after effects. We're seeing the end of that equation and then we like, oh, that's bad. No, hey man, this shit been going on and it's continued to go on, not just in the state of Georgia, not just Fulton County. Hey man, throughout all the southern slave states, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, the Carolina, bro, Louisiana, bro, understaffed, overpopulated, and then there's this gang thing, and they don't care about us. Cause you can say it's blood versus GD and Crip versus Syringe. Hey man, it just looked like people of color killing people of color to me. That's all it looked like. And so until we begin to acknowledge what's really taking place, incarceration or the judicial system or prison within itself is just a transition from slavery. That's all that it is. It's all that it is. Wherever you have poverty, you're going to have crime. Wherever you have poor education, you're going to have poverty. So why are we taking the money from our education system and moving it towards prisons? Because it's big money. It's not the land of the free. It's not the home of the brave. I'm giving you some real shit. I'm saying that a lot of times we get caught up in certain things. Like I'm in class the other day and I say, hey man, show me where your love is at. People start making the hearts and start doing like this. And okay, where your love come from? Start patting their chest. Hey, listen to me, man. As awesome as it sounds, as it looks, and it rhymes with a whole bunch of shit, love does not come from your heart. Your heart is used to pump blood. Love comes from your brain. Love comes from your brain. All your emotions come from your brain. So I'm pushing emotional intelligence so we can make better decisions. That's the truth of the matter. Let's not get caught up in the bullshit. I'm sorry.
I'm going to read the last couple of lines of that article. It says Fulton County and Atlanta can show that real reform is possible. The question is whether we have the courage to follow through. And then the title of it is Atlanta and Fulton County can solve jail crisis if we choose real solutions. So we did reach out to the Fulton County Sheriff. We haven't heard back on a statement with that. And then I'm working to get a statement from Kelsey Bond as well. She just sent me one. I didn't have time to include it in this as well. But this is a talker that, we've been talking about really for years. When it comes to the jail, you might remember back in 2022, LaShawn Thompson was found eaten alive by reports of the records there by bed bugs. So it's an issue that is going to continue. The sheriff yesterday made a comment basically saying that if nothing changes, we're going to see more injuries and more deaths.
It's incredible to think that going to the Fulton County Jail might seriously be less safe than being on the street, maybe involved in an unsafe situation, right? You would go to the jail, and a lot of times as a holding place for ultimately your legal proceedings to play out. But for it to be as dangerous as some of our community members have been pointing out that it is, it's interesting to think someone like Rashad Muhammad, whom yesterday you covered, his charges against him were ultimately dropped. So you could be charged with a crime, go to the jail for your legal proceedings to play out, as happens in the justice system here in America, and then because of alleged neglect, abuse, whatever may happen to you, you come out a worse person than you went in there.
Yeah, he walked into that jail and he willed it, had to be willed out of that jail. And it's interesting you say that because other states have a 24-hour first appearance. Here, we don't have that. You can be up to 72 hours behind bars and ultimately maybe cases dismissed or charges dismissed, etc.
Eric, thanks for your reporting as always. Appreciate you. We'll see you again later this evening with more on the Fulton County Jail.
Now, that's crazy.
As jail staff ignored his cries for help during a medical emergency, one that he claims led to the amputation of both of his legs and his fingers. Channel 2's Michael Seiden is live at the Fulton County Jail. And Michael, he actually met with the sheriff today.
Yeah, it was an emotional scene out here today, Wendy. We were standing right outside the jail as more than a dozen supporters and attorneys stood by the side of Rashad Muhammad. Now, last August, he was booked here, and now nearly 8 months later, he's in a wheelchair after doctors were forced to amputate both his legs and fingers.
I suffered in this place.
Yes.
I asked him for something simple like my medicine.
Surrounded by his legal team and supporters, Rashad Muhammad spoke out just outside the Fulton County Jail moments after a closed-door meeting with Sheriff Pat Labat.
I can't believe what happened to me here. It's really unbelievable, and I'm processing it all as I go. So please bear with me.
Yes, sir.
And just think about me and what I'm going through. Because it hurts.
Stand up for Rashad. Stand up for Rashad. Stand up for Rashad. Stand up for Rashad.
Muhammad, now in a wheelchair, says from the moment he was arrested last August, he told jail staff he needed medication for a bladder condition. But the 33-year-old claims those requests were ignored until his condition turned critical and he went into septic shock.
All preventable. All they had to do was give him his antibiotics, one, or get him to the hospital. Day 2, day 3.
Muhammad was eventually rushed to Grady Memorial Hospital where he fell into a coma. Doctors were forced to amputate both of his legs and several of his fingers. The sheriff's office says of the 188 days Muhammad was in custody, 177 were spent at Grady under hospital care, adding he was under the medical care of a private provider, NAFCare, while inside the jail. We reached out to NAFCare for comment, but as of 2:30 p.m., we have not heard back.
What is it going to take to get a new jail? What is it going to take so I don't happen no more? That's what I care about.
Yeah, Muhammad was initially charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault, possession of a firearm, but his attorneys say it was self-defense, and earlier this month, those charges were dropped against him. We also have learned right now that they are exploring legal action, but so far they have not filed a lawsuit. We're live in Northwest Atlanta. Michael Seiden, Channel 2 Action.
That's crazy.
We have a press conference that's just getting ready to start about a case a lot of people talking about centered around the Fulton County Jail. You're looking at high-profile civil rights attorney Ben Crump right now. Alongside to screen right is Rashad Muhammad. He was inside the Fulton County Jail when he said that he was medically neglected and it turned into sepsis, and because of that, some of his limbs were amputated. Let's listen in as they just, I believe, had a conversation with the Fulton County Sheriff.
Real this nightmare was and how real this nightmare will be every day for the rest of his life. That's right. Every day he wakes up with no legs. That's right. Every day he wakes up with no hands.
Right.
Every day he
That's some money
cannot
coming. You got to see.
feel the leg that was with him his whole life. And even though he knows it's not there in his mind, he still keeps seeing it, that he's going to be able to use his legs. People who lose limbs often talk about that. So it is severe mental anguish on top of severe physical injuries. And so since he can't stand up for himself, we're all standing up today for Rashad. Right. Stand up for Rashad. 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 Rashad met with Sheriff Labat, who offered his heartfelt emotions about this tragedy. You'll hear from Rashad, who talked to the sheriff about how tragic this was, not just the results, but the pain that he was enduring when he was brought to the Fulton County Jail from Grady Hospital on August 11th. He told them from the moment he was being checked in, I need my antibiotics. I have to have my antibiotics. You
That's
know,
a lawsuit,
there are
sir.
other medicines, but I have to have my antibiotics.
Maybe
It's
that's why he
about my
called the police.
life. If I don't get my antibiotics, I'll die. I have to have my antibiotics. They say you have to tell that to the people
Hold on.
when you get
Say
up
this.
to medical service.
I apologize for saying he talks so slow. He is a trained professional, and he is he is making his point very plain. And I apologize. I've been eating watermelon all day.
Services. He tells them, I have to have my antibiotics. I gotta have it. I have a bladder condition. I have a suprapubic catheter. Has to be clean. I have to have my antibiotics. He tells them. He doesn't get them. The next day, he's telling them, I have to have my antibiotics. Third day, I gotta have my antibiotics. He's starting to get sick. He's starting to go down. He's telling them, I need them. He starts to have the scent of the urine. The other inmates at the jail are saying, what is that smell? What's that scent? Y'all need to help that man. There's something going on. Roll call. He's not able to stand for roll call. He's telling them, I need my medicine. I gotta have my antibiotics. I gotta have them. I'm gonna die if I don't get my antibiotics. He's begging them. For whatever reason, medical services still doesn't have his antibiotics, and they still ain't sent him to the hospital. It's as simple. 911. That's all you had to do. Get him to the hospital. You didn't have to have a medical degree. All you needed was an ounce of humanity for a man who can't even get up off the center of the floor at that point, right, Rashad? Who the urine has a stench that has the whole corridor smelling. He can't move. He just said, I need help. I need my antibiotics. I need my medication. I need medical intervention. It is the very textbook definition of deliberate indifference. Deliberate indifference for his medical care and his welfare. And that is the problem, because they did not respect his 8th Amendment and 14th Amendment constitutional rights. And the whole reason, when you look at the history of deliberate indifference, you're in the confinement of the law enforcement, of the government. You don't have the ability to go get medical services yourself. So it is required on law that they render medical services that are necessary while you're in their custody, because as we learned from George Floyd case, when you're in their custody, you're in their care.
I agree.
And so he poured his heart out. He let Sheriff Labont know, and Sheriff Labont told him, after LaShawn Thompson, the young man who attorney Michael Harper and I represented, who died
He there. It's some money.
in 2022, covered in bed bugs and lice, all in his eyes, in his nose, in his ears, all over his body. And the medical service provider had said in that tragic wrongful death case that they were doing daily welfare checks per their contract with Fulton County. And yet, none of those welfare checks showed that this young man, LaShawn Thompson, was getting eaten to death by bed bugs and lice, while here at the Fulton County Jail. And Sheriff Labat shared with Mr. Muhammad how he advocated before that for a new jail and to have a new medical service provider because he said it was unacceptable what happened to LaShawn Thompson.
Aligned himself.
And he fought with the county commission to be able to get a new jail. He fought to say we need better medical services.
So he's gonna use him. I'm just looking at the play, y'all. I'm sorry, but it seems like he's trying to use that situation to get a better facility. And let me finish because I don't know.
Unfortunately, his pleas, like Rashad's pleas, fell on deaf ears. And as we can see, there's no new jail in Fulton County, and there's the same medical service provider in Fulton County. In fact, we were told that not only did they keep the contract or get a new contract, but they got an increase in their pay after the death of LaShawn Thompson. And the sheriff believes unless the county commission does something that is foreseeable, that there'll be another LaShawn Thompson, there'll be another Rashad Muhammad. How many more people have to offer evidence to Fulton County commissioners that we need a new jail here in Fulton County for the citizens of Fulton County, and you need to have medical services that are adequate and responsive to the needs of the citizens of Fulton County when there are inmates at the Fulton County Jail. Rashad has no more hands to give. He has no more fingers to give. He has no more legs to give. Can you hear me? He has no more legs that he can give to ring the alarm, to get their attention. What more do we have to do to get the attention of the Fulton County commissioners to say that we have a problem in Fulton County? It is important to note before we hear from Attorney Hertz and the other lawyers, before you hear from Rashad Muhammad, it is important to note August 11th, Rashad is cleared by Grady Hospital. They bring him to the jail. 11 days later, August 22nd, he is taken back after days of being denied the services he needed, the antibiotics. He's taken back in a severe medical distress. Severe. In fact, it's so severe that when he gets back to Grady, there is a dilemma that Rashad explained to the sheriff. A medical dilemma when he gets back to Grady. And that medical dilemma is LOL. 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 Life over limbs.
Oh.
You can either have your life, but that means you're going to lose your hands and your legs, or you can keep your hands and your legs and you will die. That is the medical dilemma that Rashad Muhammad is in once he.
I apologize. Damn, bro. Hey, man, they don't really care about us, man. Damn, bro. Hey, I'm about to go teach a class at the courthouse, man. Trying to keep people out of situations like this, man. Y'all get in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think, man. Damn. Mm, 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 mm.